So this is just a little creation I decided to make for the wife. We have young onion, broccoli, bell pepper, some spaghetti and freshly grated Parmesan, garlic, cherry tomatoes, asparagus, some Italian seasoning, a little lemon, a little onion powder, black pepper, paprika, a little oregano there, some coarse salt, a little Corbel brandy. That'll be at the very end. We have the rack of lamb, which we'll be cutting up later. I really like this sauce, the porcini and black truffle from Signature Reserve. So I'm going to chop up the broccoli for you. Try to get them into manageable pieces. Tomatoes we'll just be cutting in half. I apologize for the shaky video. I'll do better next time. Then the asparagus. My wife really likes the tops, so we're just going to cut the very top and the middle, and the rest will compost. And we have some green onion. So once I've cut that up, cut it up a little bit smaller. And then this little guy I got from Amazon. You just put your garlic in there. I don't like buying pre-minced garlic because it's pretty nasty flavor. So I get fresh garlic, put it in there. You'll see what happens in a second. We can just jam pack it in there. And then we roll it like that. Might be a little easier to do on the hand. So again, it only takes a couple seconds here and there. And voila, we are going to have freshly minced garlic. Really flavorful. Garlic is great. Garlic's your best friend. You ever see a recipe for garlic? Always add double the garlic. Garlic is awesome. Next, we're going to cut the bell pepper. Cut out the seeds. I mean, not necessary to cut out seeds, but if you want to cut them out, go for it. So as we cut out all the seeds, we're going to start making these guys into little strips and then cut those strips up some more as well. I like using different bell peppers, not so much for flavor, but for color as a presentation. My wife loves color in her food, and so we're just going to cut up a red bell pepper and a orange one. You can also use a green one if you want, but we already have some green with the asparagus and the broccoli. Okay, so once we're done making all of these strips, and I like to go in terms of my recipe about just kind of what I feel. That's my whole way of cooking, is just not portioning everything out and saying, oh, I need exactly this or I need exactly that, typically. More so just kind of what I feel the vibe will be for the flavor. That's what I'm all about in terms of cooking. All right, so I've cut up to all little pieces. Okay, I'll put those to the side. And now we're going to take the rack of lamb. As we're doing the rack of lamb, I'm going to put the veggies in some olive oil and turn up the skillet to about medium heat. Start getting them to start cooking a little bit. As the veggies are cooking, I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. So starting with the garlic. Get it all in there. And this little garlic thing from Amazon is really, really easy to clean, by the way. I highly recommend getting it. It's definitely worth your time. Makes life a lot easier. Like I said, I love garlic. We all love garlic. Let's add some more. So here we minced up some more garlic. And we're done with that. Okay, it's starting to cook. Can already smell the fragrance. Okay, as it's cooking a little bit, I'm going to add in lemon juice. So I like using a little strainer so that none of the seeds fall into there, because if you're eating food and you bite into a lemon seed, it's kind of gross. So I just use a little strainer thing there. Squeeze out a lemon. If you want more lemon, that's fine. I didn't want it to be too overpowering because citrus was not the flavor that I was going for. I was going for more herby, more of an herby flavor. Okay, so stir up the veggies a little bit. Okay, as it's cooking, we're going to transition over to the rack of lamb. So I really love this rack of lamb from Costco. And I cut up some pieces of it, so I just kind of butterfly it like that. And probably should have had a sharper knife. So switch knives a little bit. That's on me. So make sure you have a sharp knife when you're cutting lamb because of that tendon right there. Okay, so I'm going to cut all these little pieces up. And then once I have enough, I actually used most of the rack. I used up everything other than 2 ribs. I cut out that little center piece. And that's probably the nicest part because there's very little fat to it. It's very lean. My wife likes lean food. And I think, you know, the more fats you can kind of get rid of when you're eating certain animal products, the better. Cut out that ligament as well. Make sure nothing's chewy. And once we've done that to all the meat, we're going to cut into smaller pieces so it's faster and easier to cook. Also, it can get more of the flavor and seasoning around it. So as we're doing that, again, cutting off the ligaments, and you essentially just rinse and repeat for all these steps. I had a little bit left over, so I gave some to my dog, who is a Great Dane. Don't worry, I washed my hands before, I washed my hands after. This was done later in the video. All right, so now we're going to add our Italian seasoning. Adding in our oregano and onion powder. Okay, so I really love fresh black pepper. So we're going to do that as well. So we're going to crush some black pepper. So after we've got all that, stir it up a little bit more. Make sure it's nice and good. The olive oil should have kind of absorbed a little bit in there. We're going to move everything to the side so that the lamb, when we put it in there in a little bit, can get a really nice sear. And so added a little bit more olive oil to that side. Okay, as it's cooking, we add in all those pieces of lamb that we've cut up earlier. And you're going to want them to brown on one side for a little bit, brown on the other side for a little bit, and then eventually what you're going to do is you're going to stir it up with all the veggies so they can all get all that flavor and all absorb. So as it's kind of browned a little bit, you can see that. Switch it over. You don't want to overcook lamb because then it's going to be tough. Medium is pretty good for lamb. So add the paprika is what we're doing next. There is some Hungarian paprika that we can add to make it spicier, but I just wasn't feeling it that day, and so we made regular paprika. Added a little more oregano. And then the salt. This is some kosher coarse salt. I don't like using fine table salt. I really like using kosher. I feel it's got a better flavor palette. I'll also use black volcanic salt as well sometimes. That's pretty flavorful and pretty salty, so I don't use as much of it. All right, now that it's browned again, I'm going to flip it over. And then I'm going to start mixing in with the veggies so that all the flavors will come undone. And this should really not take you that long. It should take you about maybe 10 minutes or so. Okay, then I'm going to add the brandy. Okay, so as I'm adding the brandy, the actual alcohol is going to evaporate, but it's going to give it a nice oaky flavor from that brandy with a little bit of a sweetness and savoriness, and so we're going to do that. So we're going to mix it up again some more, get that brandy flavor all around. So as we keep going, it's almost done cooking. We should also have the spaghetti cooking at this time. So right now I've put on the water to boil. The spaghetti's being cooked. You want to make sure that your spaghetti is thoroughly cooked, that it's not like still hard on the inside. Now I'm adding that truffle sauce. It's a black porcini mushroom and truffle sauce. Just give it a little bit extra of that nice robust flavor. And if you want to use a different sauce, that's totally fine. Basil and mushroom would work best with this one. So now I add the sauce and everything else to the spaghetti. Add a little freshly grated Parmesan and give it to the wife, and let's see if she likes it. We'll add a little red pepper flakes too, just for a little hint of spice. All right, let's see. Moment of truth. The creation. It is good.